Paradox has finally revealed the map of Central America and North America. We're going to be covering both of these in a very short Dev Diary discussion because I know you're all really excited about the New World, but reality is that from a historical perspective, there's not much that Paradox can go on. That's why majority of the New World is pretty much Society of Pops, with obviously exceptions in Central America and some parts of North America where we actually have nations from day one of the campaign. Now, with yesterday's development diary, they also introduced a new member of the team, Raul Trolenke. So if you really want to find out all the secrets about EU5, ask Raul. Raul will tell you. No, I'm just joking. I don't know Raul. Maybe he's not even working on EU5. Maybe he's working on Imperator Rome 2, because this always was supposed to be Imperator Rome 2, clearly. All right, so let's go with the countries first and foremost. Pavia mentions here that the Mesoamerican Thunderdome, as he likes to put it, is characterized by a numerous amount of Altepetl city-states. Basically, that's what that is. Whilst most of them are ruled by Nahua people which speak Nahuatl language, it's not the case with all of them. There's also a tiny little settlement formed on Lake Texcoco, Tenochtitlan, which later would become the capital of the mighty Aztec Empire, which is not around yet. We will be the ones responsible for establishing it, obviously, right? This is also the first time that a Paradox Grand Strategy game has made the island itself present on the map for obvious reasons, because it's fun. You know, you get to start the Aztec Empire by yourself, and that little island in a inland sea, so an island surrounded by sea, is the first. It's probably going to be the most easily to defend province in the entire campaign, let's face it. Now let's actually take a better look at this map. So we have here a holy mother, there's like I don't even want to count this. Honestly, telling you this is like 70 plus city states. I might be wrong. It might be even more than 70 plus city states in the Nahuatl area. It is genuinely insane what's going on here. Whilst in the Mayan lands, it's kind of similar to what we have actually in 1444. We don't have many changes. It's medium-sized entities more or less at this point. We even have some of the regulars like Quiche over here that also exists in EU4. I genuinely think that Paradox wants to make this area of the world a lot more interesting than it was at the launch of EU4, and that's a great thing because this is probably one of my favorite areas to play in EU4 right now, especially after all the multiple DLCs that made the area a lot of fun. I'm guessing that that's going to be the case at the launch version of EU5, where there's going to be a lot of content for the Aztecs revolving around the formation of the Aztec Empire by the three major city-state, and you get to build up that empire and get ready for a possible European invasion, or maybe you can be the one that invades Europe before they even discover the New World. Who's to say, right? There's also quite a few Society of Pops to the north of the Aztec lands, basically the Chichimeca people as they were called, and we'll go into the North American bits in a sec, but yeah, to make it very short, it's basically all Society of Pops. We also have the Taino people on the islands that will be the first encounter between the Europeans, most likely in the New World, and we have also some more Society of Pops south of the Mayan lands, as well as within the Costa Rican part, I guess you could say, as the Colombian Venezuelan areas too. We haven't really gotten a view of South America, but it's likely going to be Society of Pops with actual established countries around the Peruvian bits. There are a massive amount of locations. Like, I genuinely am surprised by how many they added. It feels like there's more locations in the New World than there are in Europe and Asia together. It is genuinely surprising. It means that it's going to take very, very long for people to actually colonize the entirety of the New World compared to EU4. I feel like it also means that nations that will spring out of rebellions in the New World are going to be significantly more powerful than they are right now, and also why there's going to be a brand new system for how to deal with your colonial nations and how they actually work, which is going to be very different from EU4, obviously. This is the province map mode. I'm not going to go too much in detail. It is, in essence, a lot of new provinces here. I'd say it's 3 times more density of provinces and by extension locations compared to EU4 in Mexico area alone. Terrain is pretty much all tropical with arid in the northern deserts, and we also have continental within the mountainous central parts of Mexico, and we have a little bit of arid by the coastline of Venezuela, which is actually kind of surprising to me. Topography, it is in essence flatlands on the coastlines with a mixture of hills, and then we have mountains as you go more inland, and as well we have some plateaus after the mountains and some hills mixed in here where the main Aztec Empire will be located. At the start of the campaign, it is all pretty much forests or jungles. Western coastline is forests, whilst the eastern coastline, the one where the Europeans will arrive, is jungles. That actually is surprising. I genuinely thought it would be all jungles. I did not expect it to be forest mixed in with jungle. You learn something every day. I actually didn't know that that is like that in Mexico. Development wise, it's surprisingly pretty high development. There's more development in the Aztec lands than there is in Moldova. Apparently, the most developed areas are the 3 future cities that will form the Aztec Empire. We can see them highlighted over here because they have really high development. And then in the middle, we have the little lake here with a tiny bit of an island. That tiny bit of an island is going to be Tenochtitlan, if I'm not mistaken. And it is insanely small, actually. I cannot even realize how you're able to see that. It's a tiny little... Can you guys even see that on my screen? It's so tiny, it's crazy. Now, the culture map mode is where it gets interesting. So we have, of course, Nahua, but Nahua is not the predominant within the Aztec lands. It's a mixture. There's actually a lot of different cultures. We have Nusavi, we have Perupecha, Teco, Guamar. It is a lot of different cultures, but yes, there is a sizable amount of Nahua. They are, however, separated. There's more Nahua to the north and to the western bits, as well as into the central part. Maya itself also is the predominant culture in the peninsula to the northern bits, or northeastern bits, I guess I could say, of Central America. What would this be considered? This is like flat out central part, isn't it? And then as you progress southwards from the Maya predominant culture lands, we have a variety of different cultures, pretty much on the borders of whatever nations we might have in these areas too. That being said, they all speak Maya language. So Maya is the most widespread language in Central America at the start of the campaign, with not only the Maya culture people, but the cultures to the south, which I would assume are related to the Maya culture, also speak Mayan, and the Nahua speak Nahuatl, as well as a few other cultures speak Nahuatl, but not all of them, because Otomoguean and Perupecha are separate languages, and Otomoguean also has some enclaves amongst the Nahuatl lands. Now, there is a difference to that, because the first 2 maps here, the ones we showed earlier, are the dominant language. That's what most people speak, whilst the third one is the court language, and this is where we have a little bit of a difference. We see here that Otomoguean is also spoken in most of the Totozoquean provinces. That means the nobility is likely Otomoguean, despite the majority of the pops actually being Totozoquean. And I hope that I didn't butcher that. I apologize if I did. Religion-wise, we have the Mayan religion in the Mayan bits, as well as in the Huastecas parts, which are also Mayans, Nahua religion, and we have a new religion, the Tonalist religion. So this is in the Otomoguean and the other little enclave here to the western parts, whilst Chichimecan also has their own faith, which is part of the greater animist faith, I would assume, or shamanist, or whatever they might be. Totemist, I guess, right? However, as we know, there's a lot of religions in EU5. In fact, the animist group has been split into what I assume is like 500 different religions. So that should be interesting in the long run to see how you can consolidate all of Central America within one single religion and one culture and one language, considering the insane diversity that we have right now. Also surprised to see how Zemi is spread not only on all the Caribbean islands, but also the coastline here of Venezuela has a lot of Zemi. So I guess some of the tribes might have something in common with the island tribes, I would assume. As you would expect, raw material wise, there's a lot of cocoa beans or cocoa leaves, cocoa powder, cocoa, just cocoa. Let's keep it as cocoa. There's a lot of gemstones as well. I've not seen so many gemstones in any other map so far. It is filled with gemstones, and of course there is a buttload of gold. So I'm counting here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 gold provinces. It might be more gold provinces, I'm not super sure, but at least 8 gold provinces from what I can tell, meaning, as you would expect, the Central American part is likely the best area to rush in EU5 as well, not just in EU4. Population wise, altogether there's roughly 8.9 or 9 million population within the Mesoamerican, Central American, and the Caribbean islands altogether. We see that the majority of this pops is concentrated around the Mayan archipelago, Yucatan Peninsula, better yet, as well as the central Nahuatl bits, Aztec Empire, future Aztec Empire. That's where most of the pops are actually. Next week, we'll see South America. And now let's take a quick gander at North America. And I say quick because because look at this. These are the countries. We have Cahokia as a country. We have the Pueblo areas as some little countries that eventually I would assume would unify. And then we have the Society Pops, which is just an insane amount of different pops that you will be able to eventually conquer easily as a European and assimilate into your own culture. As I was saying earlier about the animist religion being split and basically the pagans being split, as consequence of that, we have a lot of different religions within North America. So the Pueblo people also have a split in their religion. It's not just Pueblo. We also have a few other Zuni, Hopi, Patoan, Keres, and so on here. Majority of them are ceremonial. The biggest religious group, which is basically most of the actual Society of Pops intensive areas, are ceremonial religion. And then we also have Wakanist, Midu as the second and the third biggest ones, I would assume, by Pops. Salesian, Totemist, Shamanists into the western coast. The devs also mentioned that the entirety of the Americas has 20 million population in the continent. And then we have North and Central America 10 million, while South America another 10 million. That means, considering that we already know Central America has 8.9, we only have 1 million pops in North America proper, not including Mesoamerica, right? I would assume 1.1 million in all of North America, which means there's not really that much pops actually. Now we also got the Russia feedback. I'm curious if you guys want me to cover the feedback in a future video. I know these kind of things can be a little bit controversial, so let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And I hope you enjoyed the short video. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.